we dive into this video, guys, I want to give you guys a bit of a heads up. The actual schedule of my videos is going to change. I'm going to try to get a video out before 2 o'clock and then a video out before 5 or 6 o'clock. The reason for this is because the YouTube algorithm, the way it is working, it's taking a while to actually release my content. Also, something else too. The same rule applies for Short Timer Prepping, my second channel, which, by the way, I will leave a link in the comment section so that way you guys can go check it out. The first part of a series is coming out on that channel today. I'm going to go ahead and do that video this afternoon. It shouldn't take me long to do that video because it's an introductory video. But with this video right here, I'm not going to be able to release this after 5 o'clock. Just want to give you guys a heads up of how the schedule is going to be for my videos coming up. And, of course, every now and again, there may be a video in the morning or if something is breaking, I'll release it right then. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive into this topic. You guys know, especially you guys who have subscribed to my channel in the past and you guys who are subscribed to my channel now, thank you guys for subscribing and putting it over 500 subscribers. Really appreciate that. This will also help the channel out the algorithm as far as also the search engine as well. I want to go ahead and just kind of say, look, I have talked about Bill Maher twice. I have given you guys my thoughts on Bill Maher. Now, of course, you guys saw the thumbnail and we're talking about Trevor Noah. Don't worry, we'll get to Trevor Noah here in a second. So, Bill Maher, of course, people have been out there saying stuff like, maybe Bill Maher is getting a red pill, maybe he's turning right, yada, 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 yada. And, of course, I've talked about this, at least in 2 other videos, where I've said that is not the case with Bill Maher. I think that Bill Maher is simply coping. In Trevor Noah's case, it's a little bit different. Now, guys, really quick, before I start responding to things that make people think that Trevor Noah is being red pilled or secretly based, as I titled this video, I want to let you guys know really quick that when I put clips inside videos, I allow them to run a little bit longer than normal. The reason why I do that is I want to give at least some type of full context to the actual clip. So that way that individual can actually get everything out. So that way I'm not just editing things that I just want to respond to. Also, something else too from now on, and I always, for the most part, I do this, I always place the full clip or I always place the full actual segment of the show in the comment section or the description box. Now that I've actually learned how to do that, because obviously in the early days I didn't know how to do this. Now with that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about Trevor Noah. Now guys, in my honest opinion, some of these takes that he's had recently were takes that quite frankly sound like someone with common sense. Even though Trevor Noah has pushed wokeness before in the past, he's pushed this whole white supremacy crap, this whole, all these myths that you guys hear every day in the mainstream media, which by the way, most of the American people are starting to wake up to realizing a lot of this is a bunch of bull crap, all right? A lot of people are starting to see through the BS. And I think that what's going on with Trevor Noah, unlike John Oliver and several other late night guys, which by the way, Trevor Noah is The Daily Show, is that a lot of these people have not come to the realization that politics does not work when you actually speak of it on late night TV. You see people cut on the television and they want to be entertained. I have referenced in a previous video about, I think it's a video I did with Stephen Colbert, that I stopped watching late night when Jay Leno basically retired. The reason why is because Jay Leno was actually fair. He was actually funny. I used to like Conan O'Brien, especially that was really because of Triumph, the insult comic dog, and Conan O'Brien was good too. But when Trump came around, or I would say really the second term of Obama, these people for the most part just became straight up propagandists. I'm talking about Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, I'm talking about all these guys. All these characters for the most part became just straight up propagandists. And I think that Trevor Noah is trying to avoid that trap. Now, with that right there out of the way, let's go ahead and look at some of the topics that he has discussed over the past few weeks.
Restrictions are being lifted so quickly that things are getting a little confusing, you know? Like, for example, okay, right here in New York City, Mayor Eric Adams has lifted the rule that you have to be vaccinated to attend indoor events, okay? That's gone. But there is still a rule that you have to be vaccinated to go to your workplace. So if someone's job is at an indoor event, they can't go to work, but they can show up to work to watch their colleagues do their thing. Yeah, which is exactly what happened this weekend.
A big matchup at Barclays Center with the Nets taking on the Knicks, but Kyrie Irving, who's ineligible to play in the city for failing to comply with the vaccine mandate for city workers, he might have stolen the show. He attended the game as a fan and watched his Nets win from the sidelines. He paid for a ticket, just like a regular person.
Yeah, guys, I don't care, like, how COVID compliant you are. Shit like this makes zero sense. Can we agree on that? Can we, what? So Kyrie can go inside, not wear a mask, even hug a teammate, but he cannot play. I don't get it. Why? Does the ball have a weak immune system? What's going on? I mean, it's crazy. Just think about it. Kyrie can't play, but he can sit in the stands, right? Like a fan. And then, as a fan, what happens if he gets picked to take the half-court shot to win the car? Can he do that? What are those rules? How does it work? And you know
I have to say that, quite frankly, that sounds like a very, very common sense take there, Trevor. Yes. What happened with Kyrie Irving made absolutely no sense. So you can walk into an event without a vaccine passport, but yet you've got to have a vaccine passport to go to work. Very, very strange politics we got going on here. You see, a lot of these mask mandates and a lot of these vaccine mandates and a lot of these vaccine, I guess you could say these vaccine cards, a lot of these things are coming off. What I mean is the vaccine passports. A lot of these are coming off because it's 2022, dude. It's the midterms. Someone who was based would actually understand that Democrats are like this. Republicans do this crap too, but not nowhere near as bad as Democrats. You see, they realize this crap is going to hurt them in the midterms. And, of course, they did at one point in time have kind of a failsafe, especially in New York City. What did they do? They straight up gave 800,000 illegals the right to vote. You see, they think those 800,000 illegals are going to show up and vote for them, when in reality it's probably going to be about half, while the other half more than likely just stay home. There's probably some internal polling data that's telling Democrats to stop with this crap, stop with the wokeness, stop with the vaccine BS, stop with the whole passport crap, stop segregating people in society, because that right there is what this really truly is that, yeah, when you go around, say, vaccinated, unvaccinated, you're kind of playing Jim Crow 2.0. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one.
Got to be kidding me. Apparently, Saudi Arabia won't even pick up the phone for the president of the United States. I mean, look, I know it's hard to arrange those calls. You know, Riyadh is 8 hours ahead. Biden is asleep by 4 p.m. It's a narrow window to make it work. But still, that must have been really embarrassing for Biden. Can you imagine? He phones them and they don't pick up. He probably had to do that thing where you pretend that the other person did pick up. According to the White House, this story is totally untrue. They deny it, which I would too. But either way, man, there is no denying that Saudi Arabia isn't playing ball with Joe Biden. And you know what? You can say what you want, but this would have never happened to Donald Trump. Never. No one was ever ignoring Donald Trump's calls. Yeah, because if you ignored Donald Trump's calls, you didn't know how he would respond. Maybe he'd send an angry tweet, or maybe he'd just ban your country from everything. You don't know. That's why I bet in these situations, Biden actually wishes that he could hire Trump to step in as President Wildcard. You know, just keep everyone on their toes. Because if Trump was calling, you best believe the UAE, they'll be racing to pick up the phone. Oh, Mr. Trump, we're here, hello? Too late, Ahmed. You made me wait 2 rings. We're bombing the UAE and the UFC, just in case.
First, let's talk Saudi Arabia. Now, guys, I mentioned in my Russia-Ukraine series, which, by the way, most of that right there is on my second channel, Short Timer Prepping. The thing is this right here. I'm only bringing it up because I've mentioned it several times before. Saudi Arabia right now wants Biden to go into Yemen. Okay, now this entire ordeal could be completely avoided if we would just go back to, I guess, refining and drilling our own oil. If we could just bring back the Keystone Pipeline, which, by the way, would not have been up, but it would have at least calmed the market down, which, by the way, would have given us cheap gas prices. You see, Saudi Arabia knows that Joe Biden is a joke. They know that he's absolutely weak, and they know that everything he says is, quite frankly, just never going to be backed up with any type of actual hard action. Yeah, I know I kind of stuttered that one out, but see, Saudi Arabia understands that Biden is very, very weak, a lot like his Democrat predecessor, Barack Obama. They were both very, very weak presidents. Biden just happens to be the weaker one and also very, very stupid. I mean, I'll give Obama credit. I don't think Obama was stupid because I think what Obama was doing was intentionally manipulating and intentionally lying, where Joe Biden, on the other hand, is just a flat-out moron, just a first-rate one. And Saudi Arabia knows this, and Saudi Arabia understands how weak he is, and they understand that he's prone to make mistakes, and they realize that maybe we might can manipulate him into doing our own bidding. So this whole topic of oil, by the way, will come back up later on in this video. This right here is not that hard to actually debunk. First of all, when Vladimir Putin decides he wants to invade Ukraine with Joe Biden in office, let's take you back and give you guys a bit of a history lesson. He invaded Georgia in 2008. Okay, he did that right there at the end of George W. Bush's term. He waited until late summer when he knew Bush could not respond. He waited until the second term to move into Crimea when Barack Obama was in office. When Trump was in office, Trump very, very bluntly, very clearly bombed the hell out of a Russian air station, or a station that had Russians nearby in Syria. Putin did not do anything. He didn't even respond. So, of course, he waited for a very, very weak, frail Joe Biden to get in office to actually execute his plan, which, by the way, let's be honest, It's not really and truly an actual full-throated invasion. He really and truly just wants the Donetsk region. Now, of course, you guys have seen the maps. If you guys have seen the maps, you guys think to yourself, wow, Vladimir Putin is invading all of Ukraine. Well, he hasn't even gotten to Kiev yet. And I don't even think that this is his real entire goal, which, by the way, I discussed that right on my second channel, Short Time of Prepping, where I told you the real goal of Vladimir Putin is actually to go east. But here's the thing. When Donald Trump was in office, Trump was a wild card. He was, in fact, that right there. He was like the Joker. You did not know what Donald Trump was going to do. You could not tell. He was kind of sort of, and I think he did that intentionally because unpredictability keeps everybody on their toes, if you guys know what I'm saying.
And you know, if you ask me, I think this is a pretty smart strategy from Putin. He's probably thinking that if he can turn this into a Middle East conflict, then the West will stop caring about it. Meanwhile, in the battle to isolate Russia, McDonald's and Starbucks have become the latest Western corporations to cut ties with Russia, with both announcing that they would temporarily close all locations in the country. Yeah, no Starbucks, no McDonald's. That's a sad life to live. Yeah, no pick-me-up in the morning, no Happy Meals, or as they call them in Russia, meals. I don't think they have a word for happy. You know, yeah, they just like go to the drive-thru and
This take on McDonald's, Starbucks, this one right here is pretty self-explanatory. You see, I made some actual notes on this right before where I said that banning U.S. companies or shutting down U.S. companies in Russia would only just create more and more Russian nationalism, dumping your vodka, things like that right there, which, by the way, most of your vodka that says Russia on it comes from Lithuania and Sweden and England. So you're not really and truly boycotting Russian vodka. But you guys see what I'm saying. This entire thing is a bunch of nonsense. You see, the only thing you're doing is creating more and more nationalism. There is a documentary on Amazon Prime called Putin and the New World, Putin and the New Empire. I highly suggest you guys watch it, and you guys will understand exactly why he is the way he is. By the way, Vladimir Putin is very, very much a mad dictator and, quite frankly, not to be trusted. The way I think about it is that the Ukrainian government is very, very bad, and Vladimir Putin is also a bad guy. So I think we're watching two bad guys actually go at one. Not the Ukrainian people, the Ukrainian government. That right there requires a special video for a later day, which, by the way, I'm not going to go completely into because I'm going to talk about Trevor Noah here. But the thing is this right here. Do you honestly believe that the Russian people, especially Russian males who are probably going to be out of a job and they're probably going to join the military? By the way, Putin would need that because the vast majority of his military is conscripts and draftees. They're like reservists, like our equivalent to U.S. Army Reserve. By the way, our Army Reserve is a lot better than theirs. But what I'm trying to say is that these are here not full-time soldiers. They're part-time soldiers. And I think Vladimir Putin is looking at the situation and saying, well, look, if my economy crashes, and of course this lifeline of McDonald's and crap goes away, the only thing it's going to do is just create more and more nationalism within my own borders, and it's going to make men who cannot get a job just join the military, and I've got more soldiers to throw at other countries that I plan on throwing at, like Armenia and Azerbaijan. You see, if Trevor Noah was really and truly based, he would have already looked into this. Now, I'm not saying that Trevor Noah is dumb. I'm just saying that I think if he'd have actually, would actually know this if he actually took some time to actually study things and actually look himself, he might would think to himself, well, these people in Russia who, by the way, wrestle bears and have massive slap competitions, I don't think they really and truly care about McDonald's or anything. I highly advise you guys go watch that documentary. But as I said before, these people wrestle bears.
Назад, назад, на него, прям назад, вали. Ну, силы, что ли?
Не можешь, давай заваливай наверх.
Ударил по ушам. Ударил по ушам, нормально? Не поправил.
I'm going to end the video on this note right here. So the question is, well, is Trevor Noah secretly based? I don't think so. I think that Trevor Noah is simply, for the entire past 4 or 5 years, or however long he's been on The Daily Show, been simply reading a script. Okay, that's exactly what I think he's doing. Obviously, he believes some of the nonsense he says. And it's very, very possible that he may be waking up to the reality, which, by the way, would just mean that he's being slowly red-pilled and not exactly based. You see, in Bill Maher's case, Bill Maher is coping, like I said before. Trevor Noah, I don't think is coping. I think Trevor Noah is possibly looking into the situation and saying to himself, wow, this right here is a lot of crap that I really and truly did not think about. Now, does that mean he is based? Well, let me throw it to you this way right here. You see, a lot of these late night people, which by the way I went after earlier, and I forgot to mention this right here. A lot of these people have got YouTube channels too. Like they have actual, like, for example, Jimmy Kimmel Live. There's a YouTube show dedicated to him where they post actual stuff from YouTube. Okay, they post this stuff to YouTube. I mean, even the Tonight Show stuff, ABC News and whatever else, they've all got YouTube accounts. And they've noticed that on YouTube, which by the way, a lot of people will go to YouTube to get the highlights and they'll get this broken down 7 clips rather than watching on television. They've noticed that sometimes their views are over 6 figures. Sometimes they notice they can't get any more than 3,000 or 4,000 views at a time because for the most part, people don't want politics injected into what they've got going on throughout the day. And I know that this channel right here is focused on culture and it's focused on sports, culture, and news and current events. But you know, most of the pure political takes are going on the second channel because I got to prep you guys for what's about to happen and all the stuff that's going on in the world. But the thing about it, the fact of the matter is this right here: Trevor Noah is probably just waking up to the reality. But don't be surprised if suddenly, I'd say later on this year, he doesn't go back to playing the whole BLM, the white supremacist, wokeness type narrative crap. Don't be surprised about that. I mean, have you guys noticed that COVID has not been mentioned since this entire invasion? Have you noticed that COVID has not been mentioned for a while? Go back to the earlier portion of the video. Dropping the vaccine passports, dropping the mandates, dropping all that stuff right there. Pure politics. That is what this entire thing is nothing more than a giant show. Nothing more than politics. Ukraine. I want you to ask yourself a question. All you guys out there who have Facebook accounts, everybody who's put a Ukrainian flag up in their profile picture, I want you to ask yourself a question. How many of those people have put up American flags? Just ask yourself that question. Why have American flags not been going up? Why are they putting up whatever the hell is in at the time? There's a very, very good meme out there saying, I stand for whatever's new. It's been going around all over Twitter. It's been going on all over Facebook, all across social media. And I think that Trevor Noah could possibly be taking advantage of this. But the question is he secretly based? No, I don't think he's secretly based. If he was secretly based, he'd have known this stuff a long time ago. He probably would have expanded upon this. If anything, I think that Trevor Noah, unlike Bill Maher, I think Trevor Noah is slowly being red-pilled by the situation. But does that mean he's ever going to fully change? That right there remains to be seen. Guys, John Claymore here. If you like this content, hit the like button, subscribe, share the video. I'm going to try to get this video out right around 5 o'clock this afternoon, and I'll see you guys later.